It's crunch time here in the studios of Austin Peay. Reese Britt, Christian Hunt, Dylan Walton here. Guys, how we doing first and foremost?
We're doing fantastic.
Fabulous.
That's
awesome.
We woke up champions today, Reese.
Yeah, we did. The UAC. We currently kind of have a share of it almost.
We're part champions.
Yeah, we're champions of life in here, but our football team is.
There he goes again. There's another Tennessee reference. He got it in within 10 seconds.
All right, I'm done. Dylan, how was your week, dude? I'm done talking
week.
to you right now.
It's fight night tonight. Basketball tonight.
Yeah.
Drake tonight.
What's Drake even do? Like I don't pay attention to anything that he does. Like what's Drake?
You?
What's Drake doing?
He dropping tonight.
Okay.
We getting some more bops tonight.
He's dropping an album?
I don't know yet. Well, it's a collection of songs. I don't know how many songs it is, but
a collection of songs would normally be considered an
album.
album. I'm just saying.
EP album,
Yeah. No, that's good. But let's get right into it.
Well, hold on. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm getting ready to leave for Thanksgiving after the football game on Saturday, which I'm getting to call, which is fun. It'll be streaming on YouTube live through WAPXs, so that'll be fun. So maybe some other people outside of the Clarksville area can take a listen to that. So I'm excited. Huge game, first and foremost. That's a great transition into what we're going to talk about later. But first and foremost, let's talk about last week, Austin Peay, Utah Tech. Austin Peay gets the win at home versus Utah Tech, 30-17 to clinch a share of the UAC United Athletic Conference Championship. So that's up front. That's what everybody wants to hear, right? There's still a couple of situations. We can share it obviously if we lose to Central Arkansas this week, but
that's so weird. Like
I hate it.
This ain't Pee Wee participation. Like one winner. You don't share the national championship,
right? Yeah, you don't share a national. Yeah, it's a little weird, but and another interesting fact is Austin Peay has never won an outright conference championship.
Nope,
they've always shared it. They shared the one in 2019 in the OVC. They shared the one last year in the ASUN, and then if things don't go Austin Peay's way on Saturday, they'd share this one with a conference foe. So that's something that it leaves a little bitter taste in your mouth, but Austin Peay has an opportunity to have the outright this week and even undefeated in the conference. That's a feat that a lot of teams, 90% of the teams in the country don't even think about doing. So
and end out on a 9-game winning streak going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and if they win, maybe hosting a playoff game.
They'll host a playoff game.
And potentially hitting double-digit win streak.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. But getting back to this, Austin Peay struggled to pull away from Utah Tech, but were able to muscle their way with Javon Jackson's 38 carries for 192 yards.
For real.
Feed the beast, man.
Just give him the ball.
Yeah.
And let him do his thing.
40 carries is absolutely unbelievable.
It didn't seem like it. Like it didn't seem like it at all.
I know you were talking a little bit about that. Like you just didn't really think.
That was the most efficient run game I've seen. We worked the game. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't seem like he had 40 carries.
I didn't. When I saw 38 carries, I thought it was a typo.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely felt like towards the middle portion of that game, he was getting the load really because Mike, poor Mike, he threw 2 interceptions in that game. Didn't really look good. And so, Coach Walden made the decision. He was like, screw it. Let's just go on the ground and see what Javon can do. And I know I've said this last podcast, and I'm going to say it again. Nobody likes tackling Javon Jackson in the first quarter, but absolutely nobody likes to tackle him in the fourth.
Not at all.
When you keep feeding that guy the ball, that just wears down that defense. I think we had 215 yards total rushing for that game. And so, Javon had 192 of that 215. So, and then I know Mike had one big scramble for a run. So that's kind of where that 215 in Hull comes from. But speaking of Mike DeLillo, he had a decent day, 280 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. Also had 2 interceptions that we alluded to earlier.
2 picks?
The 2 picks is where if the 2 picks aren't there, it's a good day.
Even if you have 1 pick, like even if you have 1 interception, like that's not a bad day for a quarterback.
Okay.
But, we all expect, Mike DeLillo, 330 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's what he's been doing all season. So when he has a average day like this, we all think, what's happened to Mike?
The sky's falling.
The sky's falling, right? But, the dude's going to be all right for this week. But Trey Shackelford, 6 catches, 125 yards, a touchdown. Trey Goodman, 3 catches, 75 yards, a touchdown. Cam Thomas, 5 catches for 47 yards. He had a rush of 14 yards for that touchdown. What was that? Was that in second second quarter, or was that later in the game?
I can't remember. Because I know he had another one, but it got called back for some
that's what it was.
illegal formation.
Illegal man downfield, right?
Nice play.
It was a nice play. They said because he was like covered up, he couldn't get the ball. I guess because it was technically a pass. I guess. I don't know.
It was
they didn't explain it very great.
Yeah, they didn't explain a lot of calls.
No, we didn't get the brightest crew for this past game, but it's it's the UAC. We're not getting the SEC level crews, and even they find ways to screw things up.
All referees do. We understand the job is hard, but
well, it's they do the best they can. So
sometimes.
It's But on the defensive side of the ball, Tyler Long led the way for the defense, 9 tackles, 1 interception. And you want to talk about a linebacking core that could have had an absolute day with interceptions. I know Sam had 2 interceptions that he had in his palms. Could have been a pick 6.
Butterfingers.
Literally.
Butterfingers.
And then Tyler Long had another one that he dropped over the middle of the field. I think he was trying to get it to the tight end. The Utah Tech guy was trying to get it to the tight end. And then he ended up getting his second one, or the second one, but he ended up he bobbled it. Like it wasn't even like it was a clear catch. Like he bobbled it and then came down with it and ran. So the linebackers got to get on the jugs machine this week for
sure.
Those
are good plays, but catching it makes it great plays.
Yeah.
And Sam Howard and Tyler Long had
up like 40.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Just a little butterfingers, but hey,
Well, hey, look, that's not what they get paid to do, man. They get paid to fill gaps and just
I'm paying you to get stops. That's a stop.
That's what I'm saying.
Paying you to stop the run game, and then if you get an interception, that's a bonus.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Leave that to the DBs, which the DBs have done a good job taking the ball away too. I know Cedarius Doss 2 interceptions, and he had that in the same game. I don't know. Was that against Steve? No, it wasn't against Stephen F. Austin.
No, that was Stephen F. Austin.
Was it really?
He had the pick 6,
yeah,
and then he
that's
had
right.
the very next play, he had another one to set them up in the red zone.
That's right, yeah. So crazy that we only won that game by 2, and it was a safety. But
hey, it don't matter. We still won.
A win's a win. A win's a win. Yeah, I have trouble. looking at it that way. But Austin Peay has now has back-to-back shares of conference titles, with its eyes set on a whole pie as they go into their final regular season game. Obviously, if Austin Peay wins this game against Central Arkansas, they would be the outright conference champions. They'd host a playoff game. It'd probably be, I don't want to speculate on this, but it would definitely be regional. It'd be Tennessee State, Chattanooga, UT Martin, and they'd come here. So you want to talk about getting a lot of people out to Forterra Stadium. That's how you do it. You win this week and you host a playoff game.
But you got to take care of business first.
You have
Absolutely. So, but if they lose that'll probably be the final game for Austin Peay in front of their home crowd. So that's another way to look at it in that aspect. But I think if they lose, they'd probably where do you think we'd go? You think they?
There's a chance that they could even host as an at large.
Yeah,
it's not as good if they lose and being an at large home opener, but they could technically try to bid for it. So that's something that we'd have to take care of. But if we win the conference, then it's just outright. Hey, we're going to host a playoff game.
Yeah, and that would be huge. Like if Tennessee State would come in, because I think Tennessee State probably has the biggest following out of any of those other schools like Chattanooga and UT Martin. So imagine, you get.
And it's down the street.
Exactly. I don't want to say it's going to be a hostile environment, but you probably
be a rocking environment.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to have a lot of people come out for Austin Peay just because it's a playoff game and it's home. You're going to have a lot of people come out for Tennessee State because they didn't make the playoffs last year. I think this will probably be their first playoff appearance.
Are they at the head of the OVC right now? Or what's their deal?
I don't really know. I guess we can look that up. But
let me look that up.
Look that up.
I want to say Martin. Last time we checked,
I'm sure Martin's up there.
The head. Let me see.
Yeah, but they could. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to play UT Martin. They're a really good football team.
They're kind of scary.
Yeah, they're a really good football team.
My homeboy played for them. Well, I ain't gonna say my friend's ex-boyfriend plays. Okay. But he just tore his ACL though, so
we won't have to worry about him.
Prayers for him.
Yeah, I was about to say we won't have to worry about him. But while Christian's looking that up, follow us on social media at APSU Crunchtime. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter. And so I was thinking we might try and get a TikTok here soon and post some clips, but we've thought about that.
Yeah.
But that's just a lot of work.
So right now, the Big South and OVC, which it doesn't look like Tennessee State's part of. Yeah, I mean they're 6-4, so they're probably not going to go to the playoffs.
Yeah,
but it's currently 8-2 at UT Martin, and then in second is Gardner Webb at 6-4, but 4-1 in the conference. So that Gardner-Webb win looks a lot better now.
Looks a lot better.
Looks a lot better.
What is it with us with dropping in the polls in one of them in the stats performed? We dropped from like 17 to 20, and then the other one we actually jumped up to 12.
There's no like unified poll, which I don't understand why. It's like outside of FBS polls, there's really no like unified like, hey, we're gonna go with this poll. Right. It's like there's 3 different polls that they pull from, and they're all going to be different. So it's just not uniform, which is weird.
Yeah, that is interesting. I just didn't know if you guys had seen anything or a better explanation of why they moved down. I know that the stats performed is a ranking database of just purely off statistics, and this other one has a lot more, it's like media, and it's more like the AP poll and the college football poll for the FBS. So that's probably the one that most people go off of, is the one that Austin Peay's ranked 12th in the country for FCS. So, but that was a great win. Utah Tech, regardless of what their record said, they were a good football team. No. You could tell they were undersized up front, but their quarterback could sling it. They actually outpassed us for quite a hefty number of yards. So good on them.
Their defense was legit too, for real.
Yeah, their pass rushers were really good. They got I think it was number 3. I can't remember his name. A Samoan cat. He was really good.
I can. Yeah. I
sacked
called his
like
name
3 times.
And it was Cyrus. It was Cyrus Webster that had a sack and a half, and then there was another guy that like the one you're alluding to that had like 2 sacks. But it was Brady Okeke.
Yeah,
Brady
Samoan
Okeke.
cat.
Yep.
We need to get some Samoans out here. It's hard when you're in Tennessee.
Yeah, you're not.
You got to try to find a way.
Yeah, they're good. They've
really
got
good.
a rich history of football over there. So, but moving on to what we've got this Saturday, just in 2 short days, or really a day and a half. Game starts at 1 p.m. If I'm not mistaken about that. So Central Arkansas beat. It's against Central Arkansas. I want to say that first. But what did Central Arkansas have last week? They beat EKU on a Hail Mary attempt to keep their UAC Conference Championship dreams alive. Central Arkansas will look to share a part of the UAC title with a win against the Govs this upcoming week. So, like we said before, if Central Arkansas comes into Forterra Stadium and beats the Govs straight up, it'll be another share of a conference title. I don't think anybody that's listening to this show, us 3 right here, we don't want that. We want Austin Peay to finally have a conference championship that they can call their own.
Keep it home.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
and let's be clear, Central Arkansas should not have an opportunity to do so, because those of us who saw the ending of that EKU game, apparently the clock didn't start for the first play.
Yep.
And we saw the clip actually yesterday. It's pointed out to us, and so it's kind of you get frustrated when stuff like that happens, because if you're Eastern Kentucky, you got screwed out of a win probably, and then if you're us, we got screwed out of getting an outright championship without having to worry about the result of the game. Obviously Scotty Walden's going to be like, hey, we want to finish the season strong, win for senior day, get the guys, who's seniors, get them a win. But at the end of the day, it's like a bunch of people got screwed, and Central Arkansas is extremely lucky to be in this position.
Yeah, I think I will say this too. I think we as a team have had our fair share of getting lucky on the year.
Yes,
I will say.
Team.
that's what one of the guys said to us earlier. But he, think about it. Stephen F. Austin, you went on a fluke safety, right?
Guy trips.
Guy trips, falls in his own end zone, safety. You win by 2 points. Southern Utah, you're down 28-7 going into halftime. You come back. Now you can chalk that up 2 ways. You could say Austin Peay came out, made adjustments. They executed in the second half to perfection. It had to be perfect. When you're down 21 points in Division I football, you have to be perfect to come back and win. Double OT there. Miracle. EKU, you kind of choke it away at the end there, allowing Parker McKinney, phenomenal quarterback first and foremost, but you kind of choke it away towards the end. You let them get in the end zone late, and then some fluke other stuff happens, and then you end up winning. So we've had our fair share of getting lucky on the year, but
no doubt.
But yes, Central Arkansas in this past game,
will the luck run out?
I hope not.
Well, whose luck's going to run out? Somebody's luck's going to run out. You're either going to have a really big win streak come to an end, or you're going to have essentially the Cinderella story in Central Arkansas and pulling one out of the rabbit hat. Yeah. And so somebody's going to run out of luck. It's just a question of who. And
a game of win streaks. Austin Peay comes into this game 8-0 in the last 8 weeks. Central Arkansas is coming off 2 straight wins. Whatever you want to say last week, the total's the total. The scoreboard's the scoreboard. Central Arkansas won that one, but the Bears, their quarterback Will McElvain. I think we said he's got 2,300 yards on the season, 23 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions. So he actually started his career at Northern Iowa, spent the past 2 seasons at Central Arkansas. He's a key player. I mean, that guy, you're only throwing 4 interceptions.
I mean, you talked about it before the show. You were like, hey, we got to find a way to get the ball. DB's got to find a way to get picks.
I don't think so, though. I don't think they're going to get picks.
It's hard when you got a guy who's got 4 interceptions in 11 games to this point.
And then what y'all was saying earlier, we that prevent defense, that
quarters,
cover 4.
Quarters
so
defense.
if you want to move the field, I was looking at his attempts, 48, 50 attempts. When you throwing that many attempts, that means you're moving the ball down the field. You constantly 8 yards here, 15 yards there, maybe a run or here or there.
Yep.
So that means that offense is kind of intact. They got a rhythm flowing. So cover 4 ain't gonna do nothing but make them more harder. At that point, hot potato. Who want the ball?
I'd be interested to see the breakdown of where his passes actually go. Are they outside the numbers, outside the hash, or are they down the middle of the field? Because I think our defense, exactly. I think our defense thrives when balls are going over the middle of the field with Tyler and Sam in there, and then our safety play of Smith and Rutland Jr. Like those guys are ball hawks, and on the outside they do a good job too. But as we all know, defensive back's the hardest position to play in football, in my opinion. Like from a physical standpoint, like you don't know where that guy's going, and he does, and you have to guard him for 53 yards, laterally.
53 and a third.
Yeah, 53 and a third, and then 100 yards this way. So that's a tough scene. But I'd like to. I don't know where we could find a breakdown of that, but 50 attempts a game. That's a lot of opportunities for
death
defense
by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah,
and that's hard because it's gonna pressure you to play some more man in order to try to prevent the dink and dunks, but that opens up the deep shot.
Yeah,
but I mean that's our strength is we feel like we have 2 pretty solid safeties, and especially in Corey Chapman.
Yeah,
and you feel like okay, if they throw anything over the top, we can go side to side in order to pick it off. Mm-hmm. But again, it's going to be tough, especially when you have a guy who is a veteran. He's been around the game for a long time, and he knows exactly what he's doing. He's not going to make too many stupid decisions. So when he does, or if he does, you have to the balls that they dropped as interceptions. We can't do that this week.
Yeah,
you got to get them. If you get your hands on it, you got to pick it.
Yeah, and especially the one that jumps out in my head was Sam on that flat route. The tight end slips out the backfield to the flat.
Six.
It was a pick 6 all day.
Yep.
And we were just like, I was up in the booth and I just like cringed. I was like, oh god, like you have to have that to even not just compete with like Central Arkansas, but those are the type of plays that you're gonna beat a South Dakota State and a North Dakota State on. Those are the type of defensive plays that you steal a quick 7 points and you're like, all right, we can compete with these guys. So. But moving on to some keys of the game, we have forced McElvain to commit turnovers. Obviously, we talked about that a little bit, but let's talk about the running back situation. Javon Jackson getting 40 carries a game. Don't know how sustainable that is for the rest of the year. I don't personally think it is. He's a really good running back, big guy, but what do we think?
Somebody has to step up, and you look at this roster, and we've had Cam Thomas, who's kind of sprinkled in as a running back, but obviously his deal is he's a receiver and return guy, so you can't use him solely in that role. But so you got to have a freshman step up. They have like 4 or 5 freshman running backs, and I understand a couple of them are going to be like walk-on guys, the guys you're not expecting to play. But Malik McDowell, who's one of the former top prospects in all of Tennessee at running back, like we got to get him involved somehow.
And on the 2 deep right now, it's actually Cortland. I don't know if it's Simmons or Sutton.
Simmons, probably.
Is it Cortland? Yeah, so he's a freshman, a redshirt freshman. He's on the 2 deep right now as the backup. So I'd like to see a little bit of Malik McDowell if we can get him in there. I would really like to
see in the biggest game of the year another running back.
I'm not saying like get him like 20 carries. I'm just saying like 5. Sprinkle. Yeah.
Allow Javon Jackson to get a break now and then.
Just sprinkle them into some situations. This is the biggest
game of the year. You think you want me to try something new now?
They're all going to be the biggest game of the year at this point.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're going to keep running them to the ground till you can't run no more.
Oh, gosh. Well, what happens when you have to go up to Montana State and play in the cold and, your Javon Jackson's, his ankle's beaten up?
How much you love football, Javon? You want to play tonight?
I mean,
you want to run tonight? If you don't want
guess.
to run, I'll run somebody else.
I think
just tell me how much you love football.
I think that what we're advocating for is it's nice that you have the ability to do so, the 40 carries, but just sprinkle in some carries for the other guys.
If Derrick Henry was on a streak like this, would you want somebody else to touch football? When it's playoff
like
time?
a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a tad, but like
if it's the right person. Now, granted, if they're like, hey, listen, these guys aren't ready yet. They're not ready to be in this big time scenario, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I don't think
if they're not ready, then don't put them in the game.
Right. They ain't been in the game all year, so.
But Simmons has been in a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean,
a
little bit,
some time. But it's like you're not. Granted, you have C.J. Evans Jr. He's out for the season. You have Marquez Taylor. He didn't even get this. He would be the guy. It would be him and Javon Jackson toting the rock right now if he was healthy. But Marquez Taylor, has a lower leg injury right now, so he's been out for the entire season, and that dude can ball. I just want to put that out on y'all's radar for whoever's listening to this and for you guys. Marquez Taylor can flat out play the running back position with the best of them.
But that's next year's problem.
Correct. That's next year's problem. I won't get much more into that, but I think you at least need to give or go empty set.
I was just
right?
going to say, I think finding a new
set.
formation would be better than
And I mean, it's nice that they can use Cam Thomas in that kind of weird, hey, we're going to put him in the backfield every once in a while, but you can't sustain that either.
Right.
Because he's not big enough to go in between the tackles consistently.
Yeah.
Right. He can do it every once in a while, but consistently 5 to 10 times a game. You want him out in space.
Cordell Patterson, Tyreek Hill.
Well, granted, Cordell Patterson's also 6'2", 200 pounds. He's a big fella.
He is, yeah.
But they basically all do the
role.
same thing.
Yeah.
There's different two body types, but we're talking about Javon Jackson and the running back not by committee, so to speak, but trying to get another guy some touches. But I think one of the biggest keys to this game is how's Mike DeLillo going to come out and play? Is he going to have a game like he did last week, or is he going to come out and have a game like he's had all year? He's going to be up for some postseason awards come January.
Well, we've literally talked about it the whole season. Are we going to get the Mike DeLillo that he's going to throw for 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks, and run for probably a touchdown? Or are we going to get the guy who plays well, but like you mentioned, he's going to give up two picks? And if we give up 2 picks at this point in the season, then I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's definitely not looking good.
Right.
If you give up two picks even at home.
Yeah, because you're playing offenses now that are going to execute at a high level, and your defense is going to have to execute at a high level.
And I don't think they can sustain low-key over the offense not showing up too many times.
I mean, I guess time will tell, but I guess nobody's immune to what nobody's deaf to what we've already played. We haven't played the best of competition throughout the entire season.
I don't know. Gardner Webb, that win looks a lot
better. That win, no, but you got Lindenwood on the schedule.
Knox,
you got.
I mean, but that's anybody.
23 points.
That's anybody.
Whatever.
All you can do is win who they put in front.
Right.
of you.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Southern Illinois was a good team to start out with. I wish we could have gotten that win, but I think a lot of people are still holding that over top of us, and as they should. I mean,
we got crushed.
Yeah, we got blown
That's
out.
the reality we live in.
But I'd like to see them. I'd like to see
rematch.
us get another shot at them. I really do. But
at home.
Yeah. So.
I think we can beat them up there too. I think the first game.
Yeah,
of the
but I
season,
prefer a game at home.
I was about to say it's going to be cold. Really.
Either
cold
way,
up there.
Yeah, up there is going to be cold, but it's going to be cold here too.
Dude, anywhere you go at this time of the year is going to be cold. They're going to ship us off to Montana for the quarterfinal if we end up winning our first.
It'll be a beautiful trip though.
It will be a beautiful trip, but there'll probably be some snow. There's going to be some windy, maybe some freezing rain. I don't know, but it's going to be it's going to be a tough road for the Governors.
Okay. Score prediction? Y'all think we win it?
I'm going 17-10. I think this is going to be an all-out, knockout, drag-out, punt fest. I think this is where Riley Stevens, the special teams, Cam Thomas, these guys, the special teams guys, the guys that we normally don't talk about.
Yeah, they're going to show up.
This is where you make a difference. And I think it's going to be a drag. I think Javon Jackson gets 30-plus carries again.
Yep.
And I think it's not going to be for $1.98. It's probably going to be more for $1.05.
Yeah.
But
95 to 110.
You spurt one off and you finish off with a first down and victory kneel. But I think it's going to be an all-out knockout drag fest. It's going to be low scoring.
Yeah.
I think.
That's what I said. Okay. I said 13. I said 13-10 earlier today.
With a Rigney game-winning field goal.
I think we get the stop.
Wow, wouldn't that just be electric?
Yeah, I think
Sam Howard stuffing them on like 4th and 1.
Fourth and goal. Fourth and goal.
No, they kick it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess it'd have to be like 13.
At like let's say at midfield they're trying to score, and then Sam Howard just comes in the A gap and just
boom,
boom, boom.
I'd love to see that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, free spread. Just oh my God, we're the conference champions. Oh my God.
I basically already said that the last broadcast, but it'll be fun. 1 p.m. Forterra Stadium. Everybody show out. This is the biggest game of the year. Best team we've probably played all year outside of Tennessee. Up there, you laugh every time. It's true. Like I don't.
That's two references in the same show.
I don't understand why you laugh at that. Tennessee is the best team Austin Peay's played all year.
Well,
and they played them well for a half.
By default.
I don't know how that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they're both all right. Whatever.
Let's move on.
Let's move on to other sports. All right, men's basketball. Let's check in on them a little bit. They're 2-1 on the year. They got a win against Fisk on what was that, Tuesday night, right?
Yep.
Tuesday night. They actually face up tomorrow night against UTEP, University of Texas El Paso, at 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that game will be on ESPN Plus. I'm assuming.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. So check in on them. But how about the Lady Govs? Can we talk about that a little bit?
Okay, let's make this very clear. When I was writing this rundown, I said I looked at that they were playing Kentucky, and I was like, probably not going to win that game. So I had on our rundown this little piece of paper right here. The Lady Govs will remain winless, in quotes, unless they beat Kentucky. Sure enough, I wake up the next morning, I check my score, 68-63, and 08 opera up. I know he coached the men's, but he's probably rolling over in his grave
because he was a blue-blooded diehard.
But shout out to them, man, because granted, we were very critical of them last episode, and them losing to Trevecca. They got a tough loss to Chattanooga. You were critical too. But I
also said first game of the season, though.
We also said that, but we also said it's Division I. But
I remember
you were critical.
You were critical, but you were the most positive out of anybody here.
Yes.
You had faith in them.
You go from
I was bought out. You had a little bit of faith in them.
I had a little bit of faith because I was like, okay, I kind of see what you're saying. But this is why sports doesn't make sense.
No,
because
y'all, it's the I ain't gonna do that.
You were critical. Don't try to deflect your blame.
Y'all in women's basketball, y'all don't appreciate them.
I appreciate the Lady Govs women's basketball. Yep. I appreciate them.
Lady Vols.
Yeah, I'm a Lady Vols guy. I'll follow them a little bit.
But this is where sports doesn't make sense because you lose to a Division II team. Granted, first game of the year, and then you play tough to Chattanooga.
A very good Division II team. I don't think people
understand.
That's what
I get it. But they made the Sweet 16 last year. They lost to the eventual national championships. Like
still should beat them.
I get it, but like. They would compete in Division I conferences.
That's fair.
Like the OVC, they'd compete in
That's
the
fair.
OVC. They'd compete in the Southland. They'd compete
in the OVC.
But
they'd be very good.
So you lose to them. Optics doesn't look great. You play Chattanooga close, and then you beat an SEC team.
Right.
Like this is where sports doesn't make sense at all.
25.
A top 25 FBS team, SEC team on top of that.
Yeah.
This is where sports doesn't make sense at all. But hey, shout out to them. Great win.
I was about to say, that's a huge
Barry Gresham
win.
is sad.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah, probably.
He on the fence.
Yeah,
he's sad.
He really be on the fence, unlike some people we know.
Who are you talking about?
If the Govs beat the Lady Vols, how much
they
of
won't.
shambles would you be in?
They won't beat the Lady Vols.
But if
Lady
they
Vols
did,
are good. Anyways, the guys, they lost to George Mason a couple. I guess what was it? Last week, was that right?
Yeah, I have their schedule.
They lost to George Mason, but they didn't play very well, so we'll skip over that. That didn't really excite me whatsoever. But I want to throw a shout out to Yana Leder on the Austin Peay tennis team. She's the 84th ranked singles player in the country.
Dog,
that's awesome. That's to be a top 100 player in the country basically is what that means. That's awesome. So shout out to her. She's literally a dog. But I think this is her last year, so shout out to her. But that'll do it here for us. I want to thank you guys for coming on with me. I want to thank Steve Ellison. I want to thank Doc V for letting us use the studios. I want to thank the GAs for being behind the scenes. They're the ones that make this thing go around. We're just here to fill time. So I want to thank those guys for what they do, and that'll do it for us on Crunchtime.